everybody, so my name is Precious and welcome to my channel. Let's talk with Precious. So today I'm going to be talking about men stop flirting with women that you really don't want. Now I know some people may think it's improper or unfeminine for women to make messages about men and the type of things that they do and whatnot. But I feel like this is something that needs to be said, and I feel like both women and men can learn from this, how can I say it, lesson that I'm about to teach. So I've seen a lot of TikToks. I'm still seeing a lot of Facebook bios, Facebook messages, Facebook statuses, and whatnot that talk about being side chick, being put on the side, being put on the sideline, missing somebody who you think is your man, who's not really your man, that you want to be your man, but has never been your man, and everything. And it just seems like this lesson should have been learned already, because I feel like SZA with her Control album, she pretty much sang the whole litany of what being a side chick is, what being a side chick feels like, how if you are a side chick, this is what you're going to have to put up with. If you don't like being a side chick, recognize when you're being side chicked and how to get out of that, so on and so forth. So I pretty much thought this F boy era and side chick era was over, but apparently it's still going on. So, you guys know that I am a spiritual worker. I practice voodoo, Haitian voodoo, Dominican voodoo, as well as Santeria. But I also want to get into inspirational speaking, because I do feel like inspirational speaking does have to do with the spirit. Because I feel like the universe, our spirit guides, and so on and so forth, can give us divine messages that can really help someone who may have not known that they needed help, or just really need to hear a voice of reason. So, here's what I want to talk about. So, the message of this video is called Men Stop Flirting with Women That You Do Not Want. And this is what I mean by that. So, you have men out here in the world that have a type that they like to date, that they like to marry, and that they like to have sex with. And sometimes it's unbeknown to women as to whether they're the type that this type of man wants to marry, that this type of man wants to date, and that this type of man just wants to sleep with. And it's sad to say that some women that these men are choosing to only sleep with, they get these men confused with the men that they think they should marry, or the men that they think they should date or try to turn into marriage material or dating material. Because here's what women have to understand about men. Men, whether they are religious, spiritual, atheists, whatever their spiritual beliefs may be, they have a natural instinct of when to seek out a woman for sex, when to seek out a woman for love, and when to seek out a woman for marriage. That is a part of their divine masculinity. You don't have to be religious to know this. You don't have to be religious to understand this. And the men don't really have to have any type of godly or universal connection to even know this. It's just a natural instinct that they have in them. When it comes to women, and I never really hear about women being side chicked as bad as black women. And I've seen a few white women get side chicked and whatnot, and have to kind of get somebody to shake them out of it or get them out of it for them to realize that that is what they have become, or that is what they were introduced to, or that's what ended up happening to them. But I'm noticing it's a real big problem with black women. I feel like it's a problem with black women because a lot of us grow up in families, or we grow up in backgrounds where we're not taught how to be a divine feminine woman. We're either raised by masculine women, we're raised without the divine masculine in the household, or we've either been taught to only seek after men for sex, money, and stability, and not love, or we've been taught to be the man and the woman, and to have a dual masculinity, femininity type of thing, where we can just take on any and everything. But it just seems like when it comes to black women and love and relationships, there are just a lot of steps that a lot of the women in our community are just missing. And I feel like this is one of the things that needs to be tackled. And it actually can be a little hard for us to come to terms with and to really deal with, because I've noticed from even reading women during my tarot readings, they have been in situationships or in relationships with men that they thought was the one, or that they wanted to be in relationships with, or that they wanted to have a family with and whatnot, and they were just not the one, because these men either saw them as somebody to just kick it with, they saw them as somebody to just date or to hang around with, or they just saw them as somebody to sleep with, and never really saw them as anything to really take seriously, or as even marriage material. Now, I want to bring this to a lot of women's attention, because if you want to be happy, and if you want to be in a relationship, and if you want to be in love, then you're going to have to recognize the signs of when a man is wanting to side chick you, or wanting to slut you out, or pretty much hold you out and whatnot, so that you can kind of get it in your head, this is not the man you need to marry, you need to look for something else. Okay, so the first thing you need to understand is looks and physical appearance. Now, I feel like this is what messes up a lot of women with dating, and the whole side chick dilemma is that a lot of women tend to go after men that they're physically attracted to. One thing I will say, everything that glitters is not gold. Just because somebody looks good on the outside does not mean that they are a good person on the inside. It doesn't mean that their heart is always in the best places. And plus, social media has really talked about over the past year or two about pretty privilege. And one thing I can say is that you do have women that are physically attractive, they're pretty, they're beautiful, whatever you want to call them, and they use that to their advantage. But I feel like we need to start seeing that same type of privilege being shown and given and used by the men as well. You do have physically attractive men, you have men that are handsome, sexy, whatever you want to say, and they use that to their advantage. They not only use that to their advantage monetarily, but they do use that to their advantage when it comes to dating, which is why they're able to get away with side chicking a lot of women, because we as women, we see somebody that's light skinned or dark skinned, clean cut body, long hair, wavy hair, curly hair, or somebody with hazel eyes, or whatever the type that we imagine ourselves to be, we go after that. Now, there is nothing wrong with dating somebody that you find physically attractive, or that you find, just physically, in shape, looks good, is svelte and all of that. But make sure that you get to know them first, because one of the things that really traps women in this whole game plan situation, oh, he look good. Oh, he nice looking. He's sexy. Oh, he fine. And as soon as they give us a little bit of attention, we go in for the kill and start giving up everything. We give away our name, telephone number. Sometimes we give up our bodies and whatnot for that. And a lot of these men see that, and some of them actually prey on that. Some of these men that are physically attractive, sometimes they know that you think that they're physically attractive, but they know they don't find you physically attractive, but they know that you're willing to do and give up anything just to have a moment with them. And that's why a lot of y'all do get side chick like this, because these men know, okay, she thinks I'm fine. Now, I don't think she's that fine or she's that pretty herself, but if she's willing to give me money, a good time, or even a good sex and everything, then I'm going to take her on. And that's what ends up happening. And we as women have to understand that, yes, we can have a man that looks good. Yes, we can have a man that's our type, but we have to make sure that the type that we consider to be the type that we like, and the type that we want to marry and whatnot, we have to make sure that his heart is there for us the way our heart is there for them. Because that's one of the issues with women, especially with black women, when it comes to dating and marriage, is the thing about reciprocity. What you give is what you need to be receiving in return. And I believe a lot of this sometimes has to do with slavery, and it has to do with this mindset that black people sometimes just can't get away with, where we work ourselves like a dog, we put everybody above us, and when we care for others more than we care for ourselves, we're supposed to be blessed with that. And a lot of times we don't get blessed the way that we bless other people. We don't get what we get back in return the way we expect it to, and a lot of us end up being broke, mad, and bitter, and just jaded because of that. And I feel like a lot of us can be saved from that if we would just take time to learn the people that we're pouring into. If you're pouring $1 million into somebody else, they need to be pouring $2 million into you. If you're pouring love, care, time, and effort and consideration, they need to be pouring love, time, consideration, and active listening skills and not passive listening skills into you as well, which means that when you talk to them, they're not just saying, okay, all right, yeah, yeah, acting like they hear you when they really don't. They should, and that's what you call passive listening. They need to be actively listening to you, where every time you talk to this person, they can remember a conversation that you had with them 10, 20 years ago, or even 5 years ago, let alone 5 minutes ago. But if you're into somebody and they're not into you, then that's not no relationship. It don't matter how hard you try to manipulate them, how hard you try to narcissism your way. Because one thing I've noticed, especially in the black community, when it comes to love and relationships, there's a lot of narcissism involved where you overexert yourself on somebody, you overlove, you overdo it, you overput, and this person's only giving into you because they fear you, they're scared of you, and they know if they say something that's not right or something you don't agree with, then you're going to start a whole bunch of mess and a big argument is just going to come out. And a lot of black women have to stop doing that because being a narcissist is tiresome. Always wanting the attention to be on you, always wanting your way, and always wanting to be on top and be like this and be like that. It's exhausting maintaining that because eventually you're going to need some help. Or you're eventually going to need somebody that's going to pour into you the way you keep trying to make somebody pour into you that doesn't genuinely want to do that anyway. So that's something that needs to be looked at as well. And my second point that I want to get to is not only do you have to look past the looks, but you also need to take into consideration about this person's treatment of you. Because my thing is that when somebody is interested in you, when somebody is considering you, loving you, taking care of you and all of that, it'll be shown, it'll be known, everything. And I know nowadays a lot of people don't like posting their girlfriends and boyfriends and husbands and wives and stuff online, and they look single and look good. But then when you get to know them in person or get to know them for real, you find out they got a wife and kids and everything. Now that's something you can't control. A lot of times I feel like a way to avoid that is to stop approaching men just because they look good. I've even had to learn that lesson myself because a lot of the men I used to approach was either married or had girlfriends and stuff. And some women, when they do approach, not all, they end up hitting against men that's just not their, the men they're single but they don't want to be with them because the woman that's asking them out is not their type. Or due to the woman not having that discernment or clairvoyance, she's not able to see that this man is married and that this man is taken. So my second point that I want to hit on is it is not as hard as a lot of people are making it out to be in relationships with somebody. It's not. The thing is that nowadays it's harder to get into a relationship because people's standards are so high. Social media has really fluctuated a lot of people's standards and a lot of people's outlooks on what they want for themselves. I have noticed in the dating world there's an over concern and an over, how can I say it? There's too much focus on looks. There's just way too much focus nowadays when it comes to dating on physical preferences and financial background, what you do, how many followers you have, how many Instagram followers you have, how many subscribers, how much money do you make per year. There's just too much focus on that. Now, as adults, we should want to be with somebody who is financially stable, who has their stuff together, and they're not out here ripping and running, doing nothing, and not excelling in whatever it is that they're doing. So I can understand wanting maturity, but everybody's not gonna look like Nicki Minaj. Everybody's not gonna look like Cardi B, or everybody's not gonna look like Michael B. Jordan or Christian Keys or some of these other people that y'all just seem to be into that's in the entertainment world. Now I will say sometimes you don't have to look like the stereotypical part to get a man that looks like Christian Keys and Michael B. Jordan. Sometimes it's a rarity when that happens. But you shouldn't bank on that because a lot of times those women that get men that look like that but don't actually look like that themselves. They've either known these men or they had a personality or it's just luck that they was able to get with somebody like that. Now, my third thing, I don't know, did I finish up my second point? My second point, okay, I wasn't finished with my second point. My second point was pretty much that you have to look at how somebody treats you to see if you're really in a relationship or not. Because when you're in a relationship, this person is kissing you in public and in private. This person is hugging you in public and in private. This person is calling you babe, sexy, hottie, whatever y'all's nicknames are, in public and in private. This person is making it known on social media and at work and at church and at the ball games and the parties or whatever they go to that they're in a relationship that they're taking. This person is also not spending time around the clock, on the clock with this woman, or that man, or whatever, because they're with somebody. Now, if you're with somebody and they're only calling you baby or whatever in text messages, but not in public and not in person, if you're with somebody and they're not telling anybody else that they're talking to somebody, and if you're with somebody and they're not acknowledging you publicly and privately, and if you're with somebody and they're still making advances with other women and with other men and whatnot, you're not in a relationship. You're in a situationship. You're pretty much with somebody that only wants to enjoy you, experiment with you, or just see how this thing goes until they make up their mind to see how, until they make up their mind to see if there's somebody else out there that's a little bit better than you. This is where you're seen as an option. And this is where a lot of self respect really comes in at, because a lot of women sometimes just don't have self respect for themselves, and they feel like if they got a little bit of a man or a piece of a man, then that's good enough. But you having a piece of a man and a little bit of man, that's still not having a man. Because the thing is that when you have a man, pretty much, you're going to know when you have a man. A man is supposed to take care of you. A man is supposed to love you. A man is supposed to be there for you mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, I believe. And a man is just supposed to pump you up and not tear you down, make you feel worse than what you already do, or just make you feel like you're not worth anything. And then here's my third point that I want to get into is that if you choose to hook up with somebody and you know that this is not going no further than the bedroom, than the parking lot, or wherever y'all have sex at, then you need to prepare your emotions and stuff for that. Because one thing I will say is that women can be very emotional creatures. We can. By us being a gentler or a sweeter or a softer, how can I say it? A sweeter or a softer creature, we tend to have more emotions when it comes to getting things that we can't have. We tend to be a little bit more excited. We tend to be a little bit more jaded, angry, jealous, and manipulative when we don't get what we want, especially in the relationship department. And this is where I feel like you have to prepare your emotions, or you have to detach your emotions from this situation. If you only want to have sex with this person, just say, okay, I'm just finna get me a little piece before I go to work, a little piece after work, or a little piece this weekend, or a little piece next Friday. And that's just how you're going to see it as. It's going to be your well kept secret between the two of you. But if you're the type of person that is meant to be in a relationship, that wants to be in a relationship, that wants to be considered loved and taken care of, then hooking up in situationships is just not for you. The reason why I say that is the reason why you have so many women that are killing men because they got into a situationship with a man and their feelings got a little bit more deeper than the feelings of a situationship should have gotten. And this man is not texting them, not calling them back, not messaging them back, and not acknowledging them publicly, but then he's publicly dating another woman, getting her pregnant, proposing to her, and marrying her. And you getting so upset you want to fight everybody every time you see him pulling up to his house and pulling up to his job and everything like that. If you don't want that type of situation, and you know that's how you are when a man gives you attention, then you don't need to be in a situation or in a relationship, because some of us have emotions that we cannot control. Some of us are naturally affectionate. Some of us are naturally loving. Some of us are naturally just we're just naturally romantic. That's what I want to say. And some of us are not these types of people where we could just cut people off at the drop of a dime, cut people off at the drop of a hat and not care once we do it. So I feel like if that's the type of feelings that you have or that's your makeup, you don't need to be in a situationship because, like I said before, a lot of men have been killed and murdered of being in a relationship or situation with somebody that didn't get the memo that was given before or the memo that they thought the other person assumed that they were trying to do in the beginning. So this is what I really want to say when it comes to men. I mean, when it comes to men, and this is me speaking to a woman. Now, I really want to be a woman speaking to men because this is the thing that really pisses me off about men that they like to do. And some men may think I'm out of place for saying this or whatever, but my message is to the men: stop going after women that y'all do not want to be in romantic relationships with. Stop going after women that are not your type to marry and to date. Stop going after women that y'all don't see a future with, kids with, love with, or marriage with. Because the reason why a lot of y'all get crazy phone calls from women that y'all slept with and y'all thought it was over after y'all slept together, the reason why a lot of y'all keep getting stalked at your job, stalked at home, stalked everywhere you go when you hang out, every time you're going somewhere, they popping up. You keep getting your phone blown up when you're with your girl or you're with your family, and it's always a pop up or a secret situation or an anxious situation. Is because y'all are messing with women that don't want to be seen as a side chick. Y'all keep messing with women that y'all know have good hearts, that y'all know have good minds, that y'all know have a heart for people, and y'all fucking them over, honestly. Because the thing is that when you turn on a woman that has a heart for people, when you turn on a woman that has love for people, consideration for others as well, you already know that she's loving, kind, considerate, and that she wants to be with somebody who wants to be with her for real. And a lot of y'all men, y'all prey on women like this be- because, excuse me, y'all feel like, oh, this girl gonna let me screw her over. She gonna let me do this to her, and she gonna keep forgiving me, forgiving me, forgiving me. And that's how y'all turn a lot of good women into savages. And when I say savages, I don't mean that in a good way. That's why a lot of women sometimes that y'all meet end up being bitter and jaded and mad and mean and just downright nasty, like gutterball nasty, because y'all have just jaded and have just tarnished them so bad that they feel like they don't have to care or love anybody anymore, including y'all. And a lot of y'all men sometimes complain the reason why y'all don't like being with certain types of women or with this type of woman or whatever is because y'all are too jaded, y'all are too jealous, y'all are too hateful, too mean. Well, if y'all men would stop screwing these women over and stop tarnishing them and taking advantage of them and lying to them, and y'all say that y'all love and want to be with them and all of that, and then you're doing the opposite, you can't get mad at these women when they have high emotions for y'all, when they want to be in love with y'all, when they want to be in relationships with y'all, when they want to be, when they want to be loving and whatnot. If you know that this is not the type of woman that can handle a situationship or handle a hookup, stop going after them. Because a lot of y'all men sometimes, y'all want y'all's cake and then y'all want to eat it too. But at the same time, when y'all start having allergic reactions to this cake that y'all eating by these girls texting y'all all the time, stalking y'all and popping up and everything, that's what causes that. If you want to just hook up with a woman, if you want to just be with a woman for sex or just a one night stand, then go after the prostitutes. Go after some of the strippers that want that. Go after some of these street women or whatever. Go after some of these women that just don't want for nothing. Go to them instead and get that. But when it comes to the good women that have good hearts and have good mindsets and got a lot of stuff going for us, leave us alone. We don't want all this jadedness and bitterness and hatred in our hearts and stuff because just because y'all wanted a good time or whatever. They do it to stroke their egos because they're not. Yeah, exactly. And that's what I said earlier, exactly. But at the same token, it's like it needs to stop. And I know I may not be the one to stop it, but I just feel like this just really needs to be known on the men's side and on the woman's side, because there's just so much like anxiety that goes on, depression, and killings. Like I said before, you have a lot of women and a lot of men that get killed when they put other people in situations like this. And it's sad to say, but we don't know how people's emotions are. We don't know how people's thinking is, which is why, you have a lot of people, especially in this time and right now, committing suicide. There are a lot of celebrity kids committing suicide, a lot of kids of celebrities committing suicide, a lot of celebrities committing suicide. And it's like when y'all hurt people and take advantage of people and whatnot, y'all don't know what type of triggers y'all can set off in people. Like people can be crazy and people can be mean or whatever, but sometimes there's a source and there's a start to that craziness and that meanness that a lot of people never want to be accountable for. Because the reason why a lot of these people out here are crazy and mean and just as evil as they are is not so necessarily because they've garnered that because of their good looks and money and natural privilege, but some of these people have been deeply hurt, whether it be by family, whether it be in relationships, acquaintances, friendships, whatever the acquaintances may have been. But a lot of these people have been damaged to the point where they're hurting and doing all this type of stuff to other people. And, it's causing a lot of drastic changes and whatnot. So yeah, y'all may be doing this to stroke y'all's egos and to make y'all feel more of a man and whatnot, but y'all don't understand what type of damage that type of stuff is causing. You wouldn't have so many people that have to go to counselors and therapists or healing circles, or people that need to do all this shadow work, or people that need to do all of this, inner imaging that people are doing now, especially in the spiritual community. If y'all would just stop hurting people. And I understand that the divine sometimes will send us people to hurt us, to teach us a lesson about ourselves or about other people, or just about how we need to move differently in life. But some of this stuff that's being done nowadays is just being done out of pure ability of doing it, or out of pure meanness and whatnot. And it needs to stop, because it's like a lot of y'all keep turning people on that y'all know y'all don't want like that. Y'all keep chasing after people y'all know y'all don't want. And y'all keep trying to take advantage of people that you know you do not want, and it's damaging them. And then y'all can't understand why you can't have any peace. And then a lot of y'all love to come back and say, well, that's your problem. It's not mine. Wanting to turn it on the person that you hurt. And then want to change the scenario around and then make it seem like it's their fault and not yours. A lot of this escapism where I could do whatever I want to do, but I can cut myself off from the situation where it went for me, causing the problem to now it's your problem. And you have a lot of that going on, and a lot of y'all, and I'll leave y'all with this, y'all are making yourselves have unnecessary bad karma too. Karma can mess you up in so many different ways. A lot of people think that karma would just come back, the bad karma, because there is a difference between good karma and bad karma. A lot of y'all sometimes are creating unnecessary bad karma with the way that you treat people. Bad karma can not only come back and hit you in the same way you treated this person, somebody doing you. But bad karma can come back through your money. Bad karma can start messing up your money. Bad karma can start messing up your connections, your blessings, your opportunities, all of that. You don't know how karma is going to get you back. So if you want good things to continue to come to you, good relationships and good people and just good energy, stop ruining other people's good energy. Stop ruining good people. Stop hurting good people. And stop damaging good women, where it's getting to the point now where you're just dealing with a lot of problems and issues. If you want somebody who's already jacked up, messed up, and they don't want nothing out of life and don't want no relationship, and I know it's bad to be like that, but you just have some people that are like that in this world. They don't want more than what they have. They're damaged. They're fine with that, and they're okay with somebody using them. Go after those type of women. But stop going after these women that want to be in love, that want to have children and be married, and don't want to have relationships and whatnot, and damaging them. Leave them alone. But go after the women, that pretty much don't mind having somebody slutting them out. Don't mind somebody using them for money and sex. They don't mind somebody just screwing them over and then leaving them alone when they're done doing it. Go after those women, but leave the good women alone.